Yes, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Welcome you all back again to our morning session of Understand Quran. We are on the second course, second book, and we've started Surah Al-Baqarah. And in Surah Al-Baqarah, we are on the second pointer. We have already seen what the pointers are. Inshallah, we'll be having a little revision of those pointers also. So that inshallah. Here. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. Today we are on course number 2 and page number 2 of that of the Quran, the Hafzi Quran, and we will be taking the pointer number B. So again, if you have watched the video, it is better, so the understanding is better. We had already shared the notes of this, so if you have gone through notes also, it will be better and your understanding will be better. We will be the Quran 2B and the grammar 2B. These are the two things that we'll be covering today. This is the timeline of the revelation of the Quran, and we've seen this slide before, and now Surah Al-Baqarah is after the migration to Medina. We had seen this on last time. This is how the pointers are. So the first 5 pages go on the right hand, and this book is going to cover the right hand for the first 5 pages. So the people who wanted to do hifz also along with this, they can memorize these small ayat that we are doing, and at least they'll be able to memorize these first 5 pages. And on if they are keeping that on the hand, they know what are the pointers, and that makes them easy for. The first pointer we have already finished. That was praise for Allah, dua for guidance for the muttaqin, and attributes of the muttaqin. On the left side here, you can see how these pages are divided. And with two hands, you actually cover about 10 pages, which is half the Quran, right? So one hand is almost a quarter. So pointers we have seen. So pointers in brief. So just remember these 4 words, and then you'll get the full sequence that is there on the page. This is how it is. Typically, all of these pointers are there, and it is the page is divided into 4 parts. So if anybody is memorizing also, they can take just these parts and then memorize just those many ayat. And if anybody is interested, there is an app which is there with the Quran, and it has the Understand Quran people have tied up with them, and this kind of pointers have been made for the full Quran. So memorizing everything also could be easy if anybody is interested. So we are on the second page, in which there are 4 pointers: kafirin, munafiqeen, corrupt, and the double. We have seen that. So no guidance for the kafirin and no guidance for the munafiqeen. And then the description of the corrupt and the fools and the double face, right? So this is how it is. We are on the second pointer here. You will see this whether it's slight yellowish color. The first one is a pink color, second is a yellowish color. These colors are to differentiate the different pointers. So link with the previous verses. Earlier it was mentioned the first pointer was about the kuffar, that is no guidance for the kuffar. So earlier it was mentioned that kuffar will not get hidayat, and now we are talking of the munafiqeen. Very important topic and a very important subject of the munafiqeen, that munafiqeen will not get guidance, right? And the lessons that we have to import from the ayat that we are going to study are these in short. So hypocrites behave like the believers, but in reality they deceive others. So we have to analyze ourselves and see if there is any amount of hypocrisy in our hearts, right? So again, the second point, as you're seeing, is that the disease is in the hearts, okay? And the result in dunya is that Allah increases their disease, and the result in akhirah is that there is a painful. We'll take this again, the lessons, the imports that we have from these ayat that we're going to do today. So how easy the Quran is, you have to learn only, and to learn is easy. We will use the phrases, all this we have seen and how we are doing, and everybody is now comfortable hopefully with this. So with this, we go to the ayat for today. First part of is, I normally we do revision, but somehow that particular slide is not loading. That's why I've skipped the revision for today. So we will directly go to the ayat that is there. So, is and, we already know that. Min also we know is from. But here, if you see, the translation is of, but you can keep it as from only. And from the people, and of the people, and from the people. The min, we also know minash shaitan, from shaitan. So min is from.
People.
Minan nasi, and from an nas. Nas is.
Voice is breaking, sir.
Okay, I think there's some internet connectivity issue.
Hello.
Yeah, can you
Voice
hear me?
is
Can you hear me now? Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. I can hear you.
Okay, okay. So, wa minan nasi, and from an nas, and from people, and from min we have coming to man. Man means who, right? And the next word is yaqulu, qala, yaqulu. We have already done this grammar. Qala, present tense is yaqulu. But when man and yaqulu comes, according to the recitation rules of Tajweed, the noon will get joined with the ya, and we will pronounce it as may yaqulu. So when we are learning grammar, we are learning yaqulu, and when we are reciting, you will wonder why it is may yaqulu. So the Tajweed rules and the grammar have to be kept in mind both together, that the recitation is going to be with the joining of the, because there's a noon sakin there. Noon sakin is the noon with a sukun, or also tanween, like here. Okay, right. So wa minan nasi, and from the people, man yaqulu. Man means who, and yaqulu means says, right? So man yaqulu, from mankind there are people who say. People is coming from the word nas in front, right? So from mankind there are people who say. Man yaqulu, people who say. What do they say? Now is the phrase that is coming. Amanna billahi. Okay? Amanna billahi. Amanna, we believe. Right? So amana, amana, amanu, amana, amanu, amanta, amantum. And in the first person we go amanna. So amana, amana, amanu, amanta, amantum, amantu, amanna. So amanna is we believe. Right? So what are they saying? Amanna, we all believe. Billahi, we with Allah. Amanna billahi. Today I'll also tell you a little bit more about the cases that are there, which we have not covered, which is actually not part of the course, but just for your better understanding. So here we have be, which is a preposition, and because of this preposition, Allah is coming in the genitive case, that is with kasra. So amanna be, because of this be, that is going Allahi. So here it will not be Allahu or Allah. It will be Allahi only because of the be. Okay. So وَمِنَ النَّاسِ مَن يَقُولُ, and from the people is the one who says, Amanna, we believe, billahi, in Allah. So we believe in Allah. And what else do they believe? وَمِنَ النَّاسِ مَن يَقُولُ آمَنَّا بِاللَّهِ and bil yawmil akhiri. Bil yawmil akhiri again is another phrase. Amanna billahi, that we believe in Allah. And be, and we believe with al yawmil akhiri, and we believe in the yawmil akhiri. So that is the same reason why we had kasra in Allah, because of this be here. We are getting kasra at yawmi. It is become yawmi, not yawmu. And al akhiri. Okay, like Allah also had kasra. Allahi, billahi. Right? So, وَمِنَ النَّاسِ مَن يَقُولُ آمَنَّا بِاللَّهِ وَبِالْيَوْمِ الْآخِرِ, not يَوْمُ الْآخِرِ. Right? So that is why there is kasra, because of this B. If you know these small things, whenever you're memorizing, also it will become easy for you that you will know what word is coming where and because of what reason it is coming. So وَمِنَ النَّاسِ مَن يَقُولُ آمَنَّا بِاللَّهِ وَبِالْيَوْمِ الْآخِرِ. So they are the ones who say that we believe in Allah and we believe in the last day, that is Yawm al-Akhir. وَمَا, and not whom, they, be mu'minin, and not they, be, again, mu'minin, on they are not, but they are not believers. وَمَا hum, and not them, be mu'minin, with believers, or they are not believers. Okay? So here again, be would be the same with, but they are not with believers, which means they themselves are not the believers. Okay, so wama hum, and not whom, they, be mu'minin, with believers, or they are not with the believers, which means that they are not believers themselves. Right? So this is the third category.
B. Sorry,
yeah.
sorry. There's a B over there, no?
Yes.
B more. B is what? With
B,
or in?
B is with, the same B,
With.
which is there from the beginning to
It's a
the
preposition, no?
part. Yeah. So
Then why
like I said,
in the end
yeah.
it should be khasra, no? Be mu'minin, no?
Yeah, so a good question. I'll just tell, but this is of noun, and we saw that noun, the cases in plural, we had learned earlier that it could be mu'minun and mu'minin. Remember the plurals? Mu'min, mu'minuna, and mu'minina.
Yes.
Right. So the mu'minina is in the genitive case here. That's why
Achha.
this kasra is not there, because this fatha will always be a fatha only. So that's why instead of using mu'minun, because of this B, because of this B, we are getting mu'minin.
Achha, that way.
Right? You got it?
Yeah.
Right. So the B is giving kasra to the nouns which are directly there, and for plurals, if it was mu'minun, it would become mu'minin. But here it is plural, so plural has either vav nun or ya nun. So because vav nun is with the pesh, we are going to use ya nun. So both the accusative and the genitive cases will be with will be like mu'minin. Okay. So when we have to have a zabar, then also it will be mu'minin, and when it is going to be a zair, then also it will be mu'minin. Only in the nominative case, when there is a pesh, it will be mu'minun. Right? Is that little clear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, alhamdulillah. So this is the third category of the people who are munafiqeen, and this is very dangerous. Therefore, more details are given in the following verses. So we'll see what is the characteristics of the munafiqeen, and we'll study a little more of that, because we have to see that we don't fall into those categories and we remain protected from it, and ask Allah to protect us from becoming munafiqeen. So why did they become munafiqeen? So when some people saw that the Muslims are getting powerful in the Medina, they said that we are Muslims, but they had other plans, which means that in heart they had not accepted the belief, but outwardly they wanted to show that they're Muslims because the circumstances around wanted them to become Muslims, right? So these were a specific category of people who in their hearts did not have belief, but they would be the first ones in the saf, and first ones to be there for prayers, and filling the first saf. And we have seen that in Surah Munafiqeen, where one of the Munafiqeen would get up and say that this is the Prophet of Allah and tell everybody that. So he was not lying, but it was just a pretentious show to show that he himself is a mu'min. So that's why Allah Ta'ala there says that Allah Ta'ala knows that you are munafiq and the Prophet is true. Basically, it also indicates that in our life situations where we are, if we find that we have to sort of be Muslims, then we would want to be like Muslims, and in other situations, we would want to be otherwise. So that also could be a part of the disease of hypocrisy. We have to see if that is there within us, and if it is there, then we have to see that we should clear our hearts of this hypocrisy. Right. So with this, I think we'll practice this. Somebody can just volunteer and just translate this particular ayah. Anybody? Should I select somebody?
Shall I try?
Yes, please. The
أعوذ
meanings are all
بالله
there.
من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ومن الناس من يقول and of the people are some. Minan nasi, man yaqulu, wa minan nasi man yaqulu, who say, Amanna, we believe, billahi, in Allah, bil yawmil akhiri, and in the last day. Wama, but they are not.
Okay.
Wama hum, but they are not. Bimu'minin, they are not believers.
MashaAllah. So why do you think this bracket is saying some are some, and of the people are some who say? Because of the word min, right? Because from a lot of people, there are some people who are doing like this. From, that from indicates that there are a lot of people, and then some of them are doing this. Okay. MashaAllah. Jazakallah khair. Good attempt and good. So with this, we'll come to questions so that we know that all are awake and not sleeping. May yaqulu is what? May yaqulu is what? Who says? The one who says, who said, which is said. So there are two words here. Man, which means who, and yaqulu means he says or he will say, that way. So what is the answer? Put it in your chat boxes so that we know that you all are all awake. The one who says, okay, I've just got one answer. I can have more answers. Okay. Man yaqulu. MashaAllah. So everybody is getting it right. Who says? And we have seen that man means who, and yaqulu is he says. Man yaqulu, one who says. Who says, right? So one also indicates here, it also indicates one also. So the one who says, it's not the because there's no al there, and man yaqulu is who says is the right answer. Alhamdulillah. So mashallah, we're like getting a grip of what we are doing. So coming to the next ayah. The next ayah says, yukhadi'un Allah. So first ayat had Allah he, and now we have Allah her. So I'll talk a little bit about that also. So first, yukhadi'un Allah. Yukhadi'un means they all deceive, right? Wow, how do you know it's plural? Wow, noon is there. Yukhadi'un Allah. They all deceive Allah. So Allah is the subject in this sentence. Okay, like we had seen Zaid, and we had always seen the example of Zaidan. Why? Because Zaid was the subject in those sentences. Here, Allah is the object of the sentence because they are trying to deceive who? They are trying to deceive Allah. That's why we have a fatha here or a zabar on Allah, right? So yukhadi'un Allah. They are the ones who seek to diffuse Allah, to deceive Allah, because Allah cannot be deceived, right? So, but Allah becomes the subject in the sentence at least, and that's why it's got a zabar there. So yukhadi'un Allah. They seek to deceive Allah. وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا and alladhina, all those who amanu. So first Allah Ta'ala is talking that they are wanting to deceive Allah, which is not possible. وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا, and they are also wanting to deceive the people who believe by showing that they are believers and by doing acts so that the believers will feel that these are believers, right? But the real belief is in the heart, and Allah Ta'ala is going to gauge the hearts, and the external appearances, big beards may not indicate Iman. Islamic clothes may not indicate Iman. Iman lies in the heart. So those are manifestations, which if your heart is right, you would obviously follow. But it is not the other way around. Like somebody had said कि Islam में दाढ़ी है मगर दाढ़ी में Islam नहीं है. Okay. Right. So yukhadi'un Allah walladhina amanu. So they are the ones who deceive Allah and those who believe. Wama, and not. Wama and not. So wama yakhda'una. Wama yakhda'una and not yakhda'una and not they deceive. They deceive or they seek to deceive Allah, because Allah is there. That's why they in the bracket they have put seek to. So yukhadi'un Allah walladhina amanu. Wama and not yakhda'una, they deceive. Illa, except anfusahum, except themselves. So they are the ones who want to deceive Allah and the people who believe, but not they deceive illa, except anfusahum, nafs, except their own souls, except themselves. Wama yash'urun, and not yash'urun, they perceive it. इसका शुऊर नहीं है उनको, they do not perceive that they are deceiving themselves. Right? This is such a phenomenal statement, such a huge statement which Allah Ta'ala is making, that really speaking, they want to, or they are seeking to deceive the believers. And first, Allah Ta'ala is saying that himself, Allah Ta'ala takes his name first, that they yukhadi'un Allah, they want to deceive Allah, and they also want to deceive the believers, but they are not deceiving except their own selves, and they don't even perceive it. Right? So Allah Ta'ala here is indicating fact that Allah knows what is in your hearts, Allah knows what you are doing, and you yourself may not sometimes perceive that you are wrong, but Allah Ta'ala knows all that. Right? So that is the pathetic state in which we are, and Allah is having all the powers for understanding whatever is there in our hearts also. So wama yash'urun, and they do not perceive it. Okay? Again, plural is used. Waw nun indicates the plurality. Yash'urun.
Sir, Allah is object, no? Yeah.
Yes, that is the reason it has got a zabar or a fatha here. First situation, billahi was because of the Allah, he was there. Okay, here there is a zabar or a fatha because of Allah being the object in the sentence. They are wanting to deceive Allah, so Allah becomes object. That's why it has got a zabar here. Right? These are small things which we should read properly also, because if you are reading the wrong way, it would mean that Allah is deceiving them. Right? But here Allah Ta'ala is saying,
yukhadi'un, Allah is a subject, no?
No, Allah is the object.
But yukhadi'una will be subject.
Yukhadi'una, those are the subjects, because they are seeking to deceive. Right? So the subject lies here and object is here. Yukhadi'una Allah, subject are the people or the munafiqeen. They are deceiving or wanting to deceive Allah, or they are seeking to deceive Allah. Right? So as we saw, Allah Ta'ala is putting himself before the believers, shows the care and the love of Allah for the believers. Right? So that's why it is translated that they seek to deceive Allah, because nobody can deceive Allah. Okay. So as we noted here, the points are that there is a zabar on Allah, indicating that Allah is object in this sentence. Okay. Very soon they will know that they were destroying themselves. Now that soon could be in the akhirah, or maybe in the world itself, if Allah Ta'ala wishes to punish them in the world. But maybe in the world, people might live as munafiqs all their lives, and when they die and when they face Allah, they will know that what they have done and what they were not even perceiving that they are doing wrong. May Allah Ta'ala save us from becoming munafiqs and make our hearts straight. Inshallah, there is a dua which we will learn, inshallah, midway in this session. Right, so I want somebody else to take up this part of the ayah and translate it. Who would want to?
Shall I, sir?
Yes, sir, please.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يخادعون الله, they seek to deceive Allah, والذين آمنوا, and those who believe, وما يخدعون, but they do not deceive, إلا أنفسهم, except themselves, وما يشعرون, and they do not perceive it.
MashaAllah. Alhamdulillah, very nice and quick. But I would want you to focus slightly on your ayn. Your ayn should be pronounced as ayn, not a hamza. There is a very large difference between hamza and ayn. But unfortunately, we have been used to not pronouncing ayn as ayn. So, yukhadi'un Allah walladhina amanu. See, a is a and ayn is ayn. So يخادعون الله والذين آمنوا وما يخدعون إلا أنفسهم وما يشعرون, not يشعرون, يشعرون عين. So it is actually a change of the alphabet which is not accepted actually. So just try, because ayn is a very difficult alphabet to practice, but just try inshallah and make dua to Allah that Allah make it easy for you. Okay, so now we'll come to the questions again. وما يخدعون, and what is the answer? But you do not deceive, but they do not deceive, but you did deceive, they do not deceive. So here, just let me tell you that this wow here has a translation of but, right? So wow can have a lot of meanings. The simplest of what we have learned is and. It could also mean but. It could also mean wow. While in English, so that is called wow halia. Jabki aisa hai, and when the situation is like this. So wow has a lot of different meanings. Inshallah, sometime we'll take the different meanings of wow, but here we're translating it as but. Also mean while, jabki in Urdu. So that is called a wow halia. Okay, so that is the thing. So now you can put it in the chat boxes. Hello. Okay, so the majority consensus of this is B. Okay, so let's see. So, but they do not deceive. Okay, right. Right, so that's the right answer. The next is Wama Yash'urun. They do not perceive, and they did not perceive, and they do not perceive, and you do not perceive. Right, so Yash'urun anyways indicates third person. So D option is out, 3 remain. So what is the answer of the thing? Wama Yash'urun, and they do not perceive. And they did not perceive, and they do not perceive. D anyways I said is out, so what is the answer, right? And they do not perceive. Wa is and, ma is not, yash'urun is they perceive, right? So and not they perceive. So hypocrites behave like believers, but in reality they deceive whom? Do they deceive Allah? Do they deceive the messenger of Allah? Do they deceive themselves, or do they deceive Islam? Simple answer. Just put your thing. So we know that Allah cannot be deceived. We know that the Messenger of Allah knew about the hypocrites, but he did not openly talk about them. He already, from Allah's knowledge, knew that they are deceivers and they are hypocrites. And Allah's deen cannot be deceived. So we remain only with one answer, and that is themselves. Alhamdulillah. Right, so with this we go to the next ayah. So fi, we may already know in fi sabilillah, in the way of Allah. Fi qulubihim. Qalb is heart, and we had seen the plural is qulub, right? And because of this fi here, we are getting a kasra or a zair on the noun qulub. It is not qulubuhum, it is qulubihim. And because of this fi, which is a preposition, we are getting qulubihim. Okay, so fi qulubihim maradun, right? So the marad is in nominative case with a ish. Fi qulubihim maradun. So in their hearts is a disease. Marz, we know we call it marz because in pronunciation in Urdu, dod is pronounced as za. That's why marz, or in Arabic it is actually mardun. Mardun. Mardun is a disease. Why it is a is because there is a tanween here. Tanween indicates that it is a singular, right? Tanween pesh here indicates that this is a singular. That's why the translation is fi qulubihim maradun. In their hearts is a disease. Fi qulubihim maradun. So in their hearts is a disease. Is because it indicates because of the tanween there, right? Fi qulubihim maradun. In hearts, whom is theirs, in their hearts, maradun is a disease. Fazadahumullahu marada. Fazada, so increased, whom, them, Allahu, right? Now Allah is the one who is doing work here, and the subject is the people there, the qulub, right? Fazadahumullahu, so Allah increased them. So if you see here, we are getting a dhamma or a pesh because Allah is the doer of action in this. Allah is the subject here. Okay, so because of this verb zada is being done by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah is increasing them. For zada, thus or so, zada increased, them, Allah, so Allah increased them, marada, in disease, right? So now marada here first is in maradun, pesh, and here we have two zabars because this is indicating the condition of the disease, right?
Object.
Object. So Allah has increased them in the disease, right? In their disease. So that's why with this you'll have a little understanding on how the cases go. In English we call it nominative case with a pesh, accusative case with a zabar, and a genitive case with a zair. So we saw that kulub is in genitive case, kulubihim, and maradun is again in nominative case. Fazada, so increase, zada here is the verb. Okay, inshallah we'll take that in grammar today. We are going to take that in grammar today. And Allahu is because Allah is doing this work of increasing them in their disease. Okay. Walahum, we already know wa is and, la means for, hum means them, and for them. Walahum, what is for them? Azabun alim. Azabun alim. Painful punishment. Again, you see the translation being done here is a painful punishment because there is a two pesh there. Okay. There is a tanween with two peshes. That is why it is indicating a singular action. Okay, so there is a painful punishment for them. So fi qulubihim maradun fazadahumullahu marada wa lahum azabun alim. Okay, so now I just told you the difference between Ain and Hamza. That is the reason with this ayat you know why it is important. Okay, in case if you are pronouncing it as azabun alimun, it means all knowing azab, right? So alim means painful with a hamza. If you are reading it with, if you're reading this alim like alim, it would mean painful. So it completely changes the meaning of the word, right? So we have to be very, very careful about this. The whole word is changing. So instead of translating it or reading it as azabun alim, if you say azabun alim, it becomes all-knowing punishment, right? So that's why we should be careful and differentiate this hamza from ain. Very important. So take your time, practice ain, and till you get it right. If you're not able to do it, take somebody's help. Go to a Qari and he would help you on how to get it right from the right place. If you're getting it from the right place, inshallah, you will be able to do it. And so many people are doing it. I was also the same. I was not able to differentiate an Ain from a Hamza, but after doing a little bit of work on it, alhamdulillah, Allah Ta'ala made it easy. So I would pray to Allah Ta'ala that He makes it easy for all of you all and for others also, but without your attempts, it is not going to happen. Just practice on the Ain, because you see, they are, if you just pronounce alim both same, they are all meaning that all knowing. But here Allah is saying azabun ali means a painful punishment. Okay, that's why it is important to pronounce the alphabets properly, and each alphabet, if it is not pronounced properly, the meaning changes completely and it will go to a completely different meaning. So that is why this is important. Bima, because if you put it b with and ma, what with what, translating as because. Bima, because of what? Bima kanu. Kana we've already done last time. Kana, kanu is plural. Kana, kanu plural because of third person plural, past tense. And we have already last time seen that kanu along with a present tense makes it past continuous. This was the lesson of last time. Kanu yakdhibun. They all used to lie, or they all were lying, right? So now their intention was to deceive Allah and deceive the believers, and Allah Ta'ala saying that in their hearts was a disease. This is not the heart attack or stroke, or a lot of people try to correlate saying that they have a heart problem, between that they have got a blocked artery. No, Allah Ta'ala is very clearly specifying that this disease of the heart is a spiritual disease. Okay, so fi qulubihim maradun, in their hearts is disease, a spiritual disease. Fazadahumullahu marada, so Allah increased them in their spiritual disease. Walahum azabun alim, and for them is a painful punishment. Bima kanu yakzibun, because of what they used to lie. So what was their lying? Their lying was to show people that they are believers, but in their hearts they were not believing. That was the spiritual disease which Allah Ta'ala is talking about. And for that spiritual disease, because of which they were lying, and Allah Ta'ala is saying, Bima kanu yakzibun, because they were lying, we were giving them azabun alim. And in the earlier ayat that were done last time, azabun azim had gone. So here we can differentiate the two. Right? So now the disease of what? What is a disease? The disease of doubts. Right? So this is basically, as I told you, a spiritual disease. Hypocrisy is a spiritual disease, and the disease is the doubts about the Quran, doubts about the Prophet, doubts about Akhirah, because they did not care to think, or for us, we are too busy and I have no time to think about the Akhirah. Okay? And we are deceiving ourselves by not thinking about the Akhirah. So the Akhirah has to be in front of us, and we have to be truthful to our belief. So if we are truthful to the belief that we believe in Akhirah, we will be working towards Akhirah. And if we are not working towards Akhirah, we have to question ourselves whether there is hypocrisy or the disease of hypocrisy in our heart. Right? So the disease of desires, right? So there's another ayat which I also had told earlier, that there are somebody who take their desires as their God, ilah. Right? So the desires for power, for money, for position, for relationships, for higher levels. For this, we are seeing around us that people will do anything to get these things, even if it is from a haram way or a haram source. People would want power. To get power, they will use haram sources and haram ways to get power, to get money, to get position, to get into relationships, etc., etc. So we have to see that these haram things should be completely avoided. Doubts and or evil desires lead to what? Nifaq, which was stopping them. Yeah, nifaq, which was stopping them from becoming true Muslims. Right? So that was nifaq, and that is what why they are called as munafiq. And the plural of munafiqun is munafiqeen, and that's why we are putting no guidance for munafiqeen. So we have to realize that the answer or the treatment for this disease is also lying in these ayat itself. If we are avoiding our hearts from getting corrupt, because of which, if we are doing things the haram way, then as we also know from another hadith, that if you are going to consume haram, then guidance doesn't come to you, one, and your ibadat are also not accepted, because there you go into the category of the munafiq, where Allah Ta'ala, where you are not really truthful to yourself and truthful to Allah. Allah Ta'ala says, not truthful to me. You're not truthful to yourself and for your own souls. يُخَادِعُونَ اللَّهَ وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَمَا يَخْدَعُونَ إِلَّا أَنفُسَهُمْ وَمَا يَشْكُرُونَ. And unfortunately for us also, or most of us, there is the same problem, that we don't even perceive that there is a problem in ourselves. So may Allah Ta'ala make us perceive our problems and try to find solutions for it by taking the right path or taking the right way of Sirat al-Mustaqim. The punishment in this world is Allah increase their disease. Allahu Akbar. So increasing Allah, what Allah Ta'ala is doing, because they are doing such things, Allah Ta'ala is putting them more in this. Their disease and the spiritual disease is going on increasing. By whom? By Allah. Because of their trying to deceive Allah, Allah Ta'ala is increasing their disease. So Allah Ta'ala protect us from this, and we should pray that Allah Ta'ala should give hidayah to everybody. And in the hereafter, Allah Ta'ala is saying, Adabun Alim. So there is a painful punishment. So Allah's azab will itself be painful. When He says Azabun Alim, imagine how painful it will be. Just imagine the pains that we have in the world, right? For example, the fire in the world. Nobody in the world would not know what fire is and how you can burn yourself with fire, right? So Allah Ta'ala has given an example of each and everything to us so that we can relate and we can understand. If Allah Ta'ala would have talked of abstract things of how He's going to give the azab, then we won't even understand. So Allah Ta'ala has given a sample of it in the world. Everybody knows what pain is, and everybody knows how fire burns. And Allah Ta'ala's fire, Narullah, is 700 times more than the whatever fire we can imagine on the earth. Last time also, I think I will remember, I said maybe the atom bomb is the worst fire that anybody can think of, and the Jahannam's fire is 700 times more worse than any fire that we could imagine in the earth. Same way for the good things, Allah Ta'ala has given us a sample of all good things, and that's why we can yearn for it and want to do it. Right? So with this, I would request maybe Dr. Abu Mohsin, you can try to translate this.
Yes, I will.
Okay, mashallah, go ahead.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم في قلوبهم مرض in قلوبهم in their hearts مرض, a disease Fazadahumullahu marada. So Zada has increased whom them. Allah. So Allah has increased them. Marada, disease. Walahum, and for them. Azabun alim. Azabun alim. A painful punishment.
Adabun alim.
Azabun alim. A painful punishment. Bima, because. Kanu yakzibun. Kanu used to. Yakzibun, they used to lie. They habitually used to lie.
So it is past continuous tense. They were lying all the time.
Kanu yakzibun together.
Yes, right. Mashallah, good attempt and good way. Again, recitation. I think everybody has to practice. If you see fi kulubihim mardun, there is a shadda on the meme. That means that there has to be a gunna. Whenever a meme has a shadda, there should be a gunna on that, right? So it should be fi kulubihim maradun. Him maradun. Don't stop there. You have to connect it with the next meme. That's why there is a shadda there. So you pronounce as fi kulubihim marada. Because the shadda you have to do a gunna there. Whenever there is a noon sakin or noon with a shadda or a meme with a shadda, there is always going to be a gunna on that. So fi kulubihim maradun fazadahumullahu marada walahum adhabun alimun bima kanu yakzibun. Again, this meme is iklab here at alim, and if you're joining it with the next one, it will be adhabun alimun bima kanu yakzibun. There's a small meme written on top of that, but the sound should come like alimun, not alimum. Alimun, something like an ikfa. Okay, so I would suggest that everybody should sort of go through or at least the ayat that are going to be there. Just listen to the recitation and try to get your recitations also right, because we are going very slow. One ayat, two words, four words. You can inshallah take and practice them inshallah.
It should be alimun.
Right. So
Alimum.
it should not be alimum. Sound of meme should not come. It should be adabun ali mun, but there should be an ikfa, which means that sound should go in the nose. Right? So adabun ali mun bima kanu, not adabun ali mum. No, the meme should not come completely.
That's why the meme is over there.
Yeah, the meme is because the rule following there is called iklab, right? So, but the way iklab is pronounced is alimun, not alimum. A lot of people have been taught that way, and I was also taught that way, that you have to read it as meme. But you listen to any international qari, any qari, and very closely, if you hear it is not a meme that is pronounced, it will be alimun bima kanu, not alimum. Maybe our subcontinent people are reading it that way, but the real translation,
we are taught that
Arabic, and the Arabic Tajweed rules would be alimun. It's not alimun. Don't do an izhar, right? It will be like an ikfa. Alimun bima. So it will not be a complete meme, right? So it will not be pronounced as alimum. Okay. I was also doing that mistake for a long time. But then, yeah. So you listen to any good qari and you'll come to know exactly how it should be translated. So I would suggest that whatever ayat are there, everybody just try to listen to them, recite the recitation of them, so that your pronunciation gets right, because pronouncing it right is also a requirement. And if they are making mistakes, as we saw in this ayat itself, alim and alim is different. So just these small ayat, 3, 3, 4 ayat that you're taking, try to improvise and improve on that. Once you get this right, then whatever you're going to recite, inshallah, will get okay. Okay, so with this we come to the question: Kanu yakzibun. What is
meme is there, no, sir?
Yeah.
Alimum. Meme is mentioned there, printed. But why it is there then?
Yeah, because it is the rule of iklab.
Because that is the confusing, no?
Yes,
because
yes.
La is also there.
Yeah, la is no. I'll come back to that word. No, la is because that you do not have to stop here.
Stop there.
No, this is
After
not.
Maradon also there is la, but there is no phi. But here phi symbol is additional.
Phi symbol is additional. But here, if we are,
what is the difference?
This 5 I'll check. Yeah, this 5 I'll just check and tell you. I'm not very sure on that. Lam alif means don't stop here.
Okay.
Preferably don't stop here. So fi kulubihim maradun fazadahumullahu marada. Jim you can stop if you want. you're short of breath, you can stop there. Then you take this together. Because the lam alif is there. So walhum adabun alimun bima kanu yakzibun. Okay. So this 5 I will check inshallah, and I'll tell you. I'm also not very sure on that. Just check the rules of stopping.
Okay. Okay.
Kanu yakzibun is what they used to say, they used to lie, they are lying, and they lie. Simple, because we've already done it. So what is the answer? Let the answers come in the chat boxes. Okay, so most of them are getting it right. They used to lie, mashallah. Right. Dash leads to hypocrisy. Select one. Whether it is money, whether it is evil desires, whether it is doubts, or whether it is position. What leads to hypocrisy? Right. So actually, for our context, money and position also is there, but in the translation part, the evil desires and the doubts is what puts people to hypocrisy, because they want to show something else and they are actually something else. Punishment of the hypocrisy in the hereafter will be Allah will increase their disease. There will be a painful punishment, or Allah will set a seal on their hearts, or there will be a veil on their vision. The answer is already gone on what are they going to get in the hereafter. So simple, answer is simple. Right, most of them are answering. It is, the answer is a painful punishment. Allah will increase their disease and they'll have a painful punishment, both of them. Right? Okay. So this is what we have done. Ayat number 8, 9, and 10. No guidance for the munafiqeen. So just a translation, taking it all together. And among the people, there are some who say, we believe in Allah and in the last day, but they are not believers. They seek to deceive Allah and those who believe, but they do not deceive except themselves, and they do not realize it. In their hearts is a disease. So Allah increased their disease in the world, and for them is a painful punishment because they used to lie. This is the translation, complete translation. So let's see again the lessons that we have to take from this these ayat. So hypocrites behave like believers, but in reality, they are deceiving others rather themselves. Why disease in the hearts? The result in dunya, Allah increases their disease, and the result in akhirah is a painful punishment. So now, here Allah Ta'ala is saying about the hearts, and as we said, the heart is the center of all issues. Right? Our iman lies where? Our iman lies in the hearts. Our guidance lies where? It lies in the hearts. Our taqwa lies where? It lies in the hearts. Now, if all this gets corrupted with nifaq, with hasad, all this hasad also is lying in the heart. The nifaq is also lying in the heart. The heart is a source of the bad things also and the good things also. We have to try and attempt to cleanse our hearts of all the bad things, of all the hypocrisy, of all the munafiqat, of the hasad, of the jealousy, of the hatred, of the anger. All this is also centered at the heart. So we have to cleanse that. Then our hearts will become taqwa. We'll have more taqwa. We'll have more belief. We'll have more iman. Okay. So heart is the center of everything. That is what we are getting in these ayat. And we have to work upon it. It is not something that is just going to come by itself or easily. Because of this, the Prophet ﷺ used to make this dua very frequently, and we also should make this dua and benefit from it. So increase me in iman, protect me from hypocrisy, and protect me from the doubts and from evil desires. Right? So for this, the Prophet ﷺ, what he used to say, Ya muqallibal qulub, Ya muqallibal qulub, O changer of the hearts. Thabbit qalbi, thabbit, make firm. Qalbi, my qalb, my heart. Ala dinik, on your religion. Right? So there is one religion of Allah, and Allah Ta'ala, the Prophet ﷺ used to make this dua to Allah Ta'ala, O changer of the hearts. It's not really changes. Oh, Urdu, it gives a better thing. Dilo ko फेरने वाला. मेरा दिल जो है वो तेरे दिन पे फेर दे. Ya muqallibal qulub, thabbit qalbi ala dinik. O turner of the hearts, or the changer of the hearts, make my heart firm upon your religion. It's a very small dua, I would suggest everybody to just memorize it. You can come back again on the YouTube and see this and memorize it. It is available in most dua books. Now, a sample plan will be, I will purify my heart how? By studying the Quran, studying the Hadith, studying the Seerah of the Prophet and the signs in the universe, and staying with good people, right? And with your goodness, try to give goodness to others. That is what the character of the Prophet was. So coming to a little grammatical analysis of the ayat that we have done, we have two things, asma and af'al in these verses. So we'll just take them. So the asma or the nouns are three things that we get. Yawm is the day, and the plural of day is what? Ayyam. So here again, this is different kind of plural, broken plural. So this is specific. It is not yawmun. Okay, it is ayyam. So everywhere it is not waw nun added. Here it is a different kind of a plural. So these are called as broken plurals because the word is getting broken into different parts. The other word is nafsun, and the plural of nafsun is anfus. Nafsun is the singular and the plural is anfus. The third noun that we have is maradun, and the plural of marad is amrad. Right? So these are the plurals of the words that we have seen. Yawmun is a day, ayyam are days. Right? So we have got ayyam also repeated quite often, and in Surah Baqarah also, la junah alaykum, you don't have any sin on you if fi ayyamin ma'dudat, in those selected days if you are there. So ayyam is the plural of yawm, and we've seen that plural in Arabic means three or more, unlike other things where it is two or more. For two we have specific, inshallah when it comes we will take that, but for now remember that Arabic plural means three or more, not two or more. Right? Nafsun is anfus, mardun is amrad. These are the different plurals for the different nouns that we have done today. Everybody would just write them in the homework. Now we come to the verbs. So the verb that we saw was khada'a. Khada'a, he had deceived. Khada'a. Right? So the khada'a word has come thrice, and almost here only it has come, and it is on the bab fataha. Bab fataha means khada'a yakhda'u. On the ain kalima, that is dal, here we have a zabar, right? So with this we have the full TPI. Khada'a will give us the full TPI of the past tense. So khada'a, khada'u, khada'ta, khada'tum, khada'tu, khada'na. And when we come to the present tense, it is bab fataha. So it is yakhda'u, yakhda'u, yakhda'una, takhda'u, takhda'una, akhda'u, and nakhda'u. And the order is ikhda' and ikhda'u. La takhda', la takhda'u. Don't deceive, right? And the active participle is khadi', and the passive participle is makhdu', and the verbal noun is khida'un. Khida'un is means deception. Khida'un, deception. Okay. So this is the full key of the word khada'a. In the red you have the noun keys, and the blue you have the in the red you have the verb keys, and the blue you have the noun keys. These first three are the verb keys, which will give you the full key for the verbs, and this is the key for the nouns. Khada'a. Right? Second word is sha'ara. Sha'ara means he had perceived. वो समझा था, उसको एहसास हुआ. Sha'ara, shu'ur. Right? Shu'ur is a verbal noun. So sha'ara is the past tense. Sha'ara, sha'aru. Sha'arta, sha'artum, sha'artu, sha'arna. Yash'uru is the present tense. Yash'uru, yash'uruna. Tash'uru, tash'uruna. Ash'uru, nash'uru. And the active participle is sha'ir. This is not the sha'ir poet. This is the perceiver, the one who perceives. Mash'ur, the thing that is perceived. Mash'ur ho gaya hai. सब लोगों को perceive हो गया है. Mash'ur. Okay? And shu'ur is perception. Shu'ur, to know something, to understand something, to perceive something. Shu'ur. Shu'ur is commonly used in Urdu also, so a lot of people might find it easy. And as we saw, this is in Bab Nasara. That's why we have a dhamma or a pesh on the ain kalima. So sha'ara, yash'uru, and ush'ur. Okay, that is the order. And the third word we have is kadhaba. Kadhaba means he had lied. He lied. And this is almost 76 times. And this goes on bab daraba. So daraba yadribu, kadhaba yakdibu. So we have three nouns with three different babs. First is bab fataha, second is bab nasara, and the last word kadhaba is bab daraba. So kadhaba yakdibu, ikdib. This is the verb key. So kadhaba kadhabu, kadhabta kadhabtum, kadhabtu kadhabna, and the present tense is yakdhibu, yakdhibuna, takdhibu, takdhibuna, takdhibu, and nakdhibu. And the order is ikdhib means lie. Ikdhibu, you all lie. La takdhib, don't lie. La takdhibu, all of you don't lie. The active participle is kadhib, jhoota, liar. Makdhub, the thing that is lied. And kadhib is lie. Kadhibun. These are the analysis of the nouns that we did today and the keys of the nouns and the keys of the verbs. Yeah.
Kaziba, last is correct. Kaziba.
Kadhibun, kadhibun,
Kazibun. Is it correct?
kadhibun,
Should be
kadhib,
Kazib.
kadhib. If you're stopping there, kadhib. But since it is a noun, it will have tanween, two-ish.
And Zal will be with Jar.
With zar, yes. But that is a verbal noun. It is defined that way. The past tense verb is kadhaba, and the verbal noun is kadhibun, which means lie.
Is similar to Nasira here in that
no.
case.
No. Nasara is nasr, noun. Okay.
Ah.
So the verbal nouns are specific. They don't follow pattern sometimes.
Pattern is different.
Pattern is different. So
It
verbal
will not
nouns
be
verbal nouns are already defined. So if you take Bab daraba, it was darb there, darbun. Okay. Hitting. Darbun. But here it is kadhiba. So for kadhiba, it is specific. For
correct.
all verbal nouns, they will have specific. For example, da'a was da'wa. Right? That is specific verbal noun. So verbal noun may not follow a pattern. So we have to know the verbal noun. So like sha'ara is shu'ur. But nasara was nasr. So the bab is nasara. Are you understanding?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So the verbal nouns are specific for that verb, for that particular word. Like nasara, the verbal noun is nasr, help. And for sha'ara, it is shu'ur. And all this has been defined by the Arabs, so we cannot have changes in that. But fortunately, so for us and the Urdu speaking people, a lot of words are used, so it becomes easier for you to analyze sometimes. Sometimes it can go the other way and confuse you also, because in Urdu we are using it in a different sense, and Arabic actually meaning is different sometimes.
What are these figures? 3, 30, 76.
See, it has come 3 times. This has come 30 times.
Repetition
and,
in the Quran.
The number of repetitions in the Quran. Kadhiba has come 76 times, right? But now you know a lot of more things from Kazaba, is that it is lying in the Bab Daraba, and that it is.
This will include that Kazaba also.
No, that is no. That will I don't know how they've counted, so I'm not sure on that, so I cannot say. But Kadhaba is another form. Inshallah, when we come to it, we'll take that. But for now, just remember this Kadhaba. Don't confuse it with Kadhaba.
I think it will include, I think, that 76.
Maybe. I'm not sure, so I don't want to comment. Okay. So with this, we come to Khadi'un means deceiver. And the word for he deceived is Khadi'una, Yakhda'u, Makhdu', Khada'.
Khadiun means deceiver. Then what is the word for he deceived?
He deceived.
He deceived. Khada. D.
Correct. So let the answers come on the chat boxes. Right.
He deceived.
Right. So now it is getting simpler, alhamdulillah, for most people.
Yes,
if anybody is having doubts, then they can sort of clarify now itself, because later what happens, you forget your doubts. And now since we are a lesser crowd, I think it will not cause too much confusion.
These doubts is different.
Okay. Fi'l mudari means present tense of sha'ara is tash'uru, nash'uru, yash'uru, ash'uru.
Yash'uru.
Yes. So put it in the chat boxes. Let everybody put it in the chat boxes so that we know that everybody is live. Yash'uru. That's the answer. Okay. The singular of amrad is, this is a simple one. Maradun, marda, maradun, maridun. It is maradun, which is the word is already gone. So it is easy. Alhamdulillah. So with this, alhamdulillah, we have completed the Quranic part of the class today. And inshallah, we will go to the grammar part, which also inshallah is simple.
Nafs word, sir. Nafs.
Nafs, the plural is nufus.
But Nufus is also there, no? And
Nufus,
here it
yeah,
is
but
mentioned
that is yeah.
anfus.
Anfus is themselves. Nufus is for the breaths. Also, nafs also means breaths. So nufus comes from there.
So the plural will be two, no? In this case, nafs.
Yes.
Nufus
And
also,
anfus,
anfus also.
yes. That's right. That's right. Okay, so inshallah with this we
Shara means what? Shara means what?
Sha'ara means perceive. एहसास होना कोई चीज का. Perceive something. शुऊर होना. शुऊर. शुऊर.
समझना नहीं.
समझना. एहसास होना. कोई उनको समझ नहीं रहा है. शुऊर नहीं हो रहा है उसका. Perceive नहीं कर रहे वो चीज को.
Jazakallah.
So with this, inshallah, we go to the grammar part, and in the grammar part, we are going to use the same word zada that we had studied there, and we are learning weak verbs. This is the past tense verb. I'll just go through this fast. فعل فعلوا فعلت فعلت فعلتم فعلت فعلنا يفعلوا يفعلون تفعلوا تفعلون أفعلوا نفعلوا افعل افعلوا لا تفعل لا تفعلوا فاعل مفعول فعل. And we have seen the weak verbs are the letters having waw, ya, and hamza, alif. And we had already seen wahaba, yahabu, wa'ada, ya'idu, qala, yaqulu. And we can put it in any of these. And today we are going to be studying zada. So these are the words that we have studied in the thing that wahaba, wa'ada, qala, zada, da'a, and hada. These are the words, weak verbs that we are going to be learning. So Allah will give. So wahaba, it's a promise. Wa'ada, in fact, he said, qala, he will give more. Zada, therefore pray to him. Da'a, for guidance. Hada. Right? So this is just a way to remember of what we are learning here. Okay. So today we are going to be increased. Zada, zada means he increased. Now the middle letter here is weak, which is seen as a hamza here or an alif here. Zada. Right? Now the past tense of zada is here. This is the past tense key for zada. So zada, zadu, that is simple, but for second person it becomes zitta. Now again, here the word while writing we will write zidta, but while pronouncing, because dal and ta both have same makhraj, okay? Because dal and ta have same makhraj. That is the reason we will pronounce this as this dal is dropped, and we pronounce it as zitta, zitta. So when you are doing the gardan, you might feel that it is sounding different, right? Because of the same words or same makhraj of dal and ta. So zada, zadu is same, but here it becomes zitta and zittum. Zitta, zittum. Dal is not even heard here. Normally, dal with a sukun will be having qalqalah, zidta, but that dal is not read at all, and the ta is read. That's why it becomes zitta. So zada, he increased. Zadu, they increase. Zitta, you increase. Zittum, you all increase. Zittu, I increase. Zidna. So in zidna, because the na is a different pronunciation, that's why the dal with the qalqala will come here, and we will pronounce it as zidna, zidna. And here it is zitta, zittum, zittu. Zidna will get the qalqala back. Okay. Hope this is not confusing. Right. So that is a past tense key for the word za, the.
Only in zitta, zittum, zittu.
Yes. And zidna, the dal will come back again. Zidna.
No
Okay.
tajdid, because
Yeah,
there is
because
no
there is-
tajdid.
Yeah, because there is no, because this makhraj of na, noon is different from dal. That's why it will be pronounced as zidna, zidna. The kalkala will come back. Though this is not a class for that, but I think this is important. That's why I just try to include it whenever I feel that it is coming in whatever part. So zada hum huda, zada hum huda, zada hum hudan. So he increased them in guidance. He will increase them in guidance. He increases them in guidance. They increase them in guidance. So what is this? What is the answer? Go through it. I'll try to dissect it out. Zada is a past tense verb. Hum is them, and hudan is guidance with two tanweens there. So what is the answer? Let it come. Okay. Most of you are feeling it is A. So it is A, mashallah. So alhamdulillah, everybody is in it. So translation of Qadr is he plots, he plotted, he will plot, and they plotted. What is the answer? Qadr is being put here because it is similar to Zada. That's why Qadr is put here.
Plotted or plan also, no?
Yes, plan, plot. Plot,
Plot,
plan.
plot
Plot and plan is similar,
some
no?
bad
Plot
sense.
किया है, plan किया है, इसने plan किया है, इसने plot किया है. This is similar basically.
Plan also plot, because plan normally is in good sense. Good,
Yeah.
And
That's
plot,
but here
plot
is in
evil.
a bad sense, right? That's right. So the answer is he plotted. This is a past tense verb. So alhamdulillah, we'll have a little spoken Arabic practice. Al zada. Did he increase? It is third person. So the answer is going to be
Naam zada.
Naam zada. Yes. Yes, he increased. Al zadu.
Naam zadu.
Yes, they all increased. Hal zitta.
Naam zittu.
Right. So here just remember that when this comes, don't get confused on why this is just two words when you're listening to somebody. So the whole point of taking the spoken Arabic is that when you listen to those words, it should be fit in your brain that, okay, this is come because of this. And you don't not getting confused on where this word has come from. And this weak verbs actually become difficult for a lot of people. But if you are going the way we are going, simply one by one word, inshallah, it will be easy for you. So hal zitta, did you increase?
Naam zittu.
Yes, I increased. Hal zittum,
Naam zidna.
did you all increase? Yes, we all increase. So zittum becomes zidna. Zittum becomes zidna. So just practice this, keep practicing so that you get used to listening and the meaning also gets inshallah easy. Coming to the analysis here, zada will not fit in bab sami'a because there is no kasra. So the possibilities left are bab fataha, bab nasara, and bab daraba. Why we are seeing is this is because now we want the present tense. Okay, so zada is becoming yazidu. So alif is changed to ya. We know that in weak verbs, the weak letter will change to something else, right? So that's why this falls in the bab daraba yadribu, right? And qala was qala yaqulu. That was bab nasara, right? So here it is not yazadu, yazudu, it is yazidu. Okay, so with this we know that the root words have za, ya, and dal, and not alif is just written in the past tense. Right? This is how the weak alphabets keep changing themselves. Now, the present tense of this becomes yazidu. The ya is added extra here. Yazidu, zada, yazidu, and then yazidu becomes yaziduna. Then the pattern will follow similarly. Once you know the first, then all the pattern will be same. Yazidu, yaziduna, tazidu, taziduna, azidu, and nazidu. Okay, so it is simple. Once you know the first one, there is a key, and then you can make all the others. So yazidu, yaziduna, tazidu, taziduna, azidu, and nazidu. We'll have some spoken Arabic on this. Hal yazidu, are you increasing? Hal is he increasing? Hal yazidu, third person is hal yazidu, and the answer will be
Naam yazidu.
yes, he is increasing. Hal yaziduna, are they all increasing?
Naam yaziduna.
Hal tazidu, are you increasing?
Naam azidu.
MashaAllah. Hal taziduna,
Naam nazidu.
right? So let's add maybe iman to it and put the question as hal taziduna imanan, are you all increasing in iman? Hal taziduna imanan.
Naam nazidu fil imani.
Fil imani or imanan. Imanan is a condition.
Iman,
We
yeah.
are increasing the condition. So there you can put imanan. But if you
Naam
put fi,
nazidu imanan.
yes. If you're putting fi, then you'll have to put iman in. Okay, alhamdulillah. So just try to get a feel of these words, try to use them yourself, and try to add some objects to it so that you get a better feel of it.
Yazid is famous, no?
Yes, yes, yes. Hal zittum shay'an. Hal zittum shay'an. What will be the answer? Hal zittum shay'an. Did you all increase anything? The question in second person, so the answer is going to be in first person. That is a clue. Right? So let the answers come. Answering D. A lot of people answering D. Okay. So the answer is D. Naam zidna shay'an. Yakiduna kaida. Yakiduna kaida. They plotted evil plan. You plot evil plan. They plot evil plan. You all plot evil plan. Yakiduna is present tense. So it should be in present tense. And yakiduna is third person. Right? So that is the clue. Let the answers come. More answers coming. Okay. So they plot evil plan. Translated in Arabic, they increased. They is third person and plural. Yaziduna, zada, zadu, taziduna. This is very simple. Zadu, they increased. Okay. Translate nazidu, select more than one. So this is again simple. We increased, we will increase, we increase, and I increase. So it is both present and future and first person plural. So we increase and we will increase. Hal yakidu, do they plot? Ma kada, la yakidu, la akidu, ma kittu. What is the answer? Hal yakidu. The question is being asked in present tense. Hal yakidu. The answer is ma kada, la yakidu, la akidu, ma kittu. Let it keep coming. Okay. Okay. La yakidu. Most of you all got it right. La yakidu. Alhamdulillah. Now with this, we would come to how to make the order for zada. Means to ask somebody to increase. Zada, yazidu, and we drop the ya. But with that ya drop, zidu becomes zid. Right? So Rabbana zidna ilman, zidna. Oh my Lord, increase me. Increase. So that's an order that we are asking, or we are telling Allah to do it. Right? So zid is the increase. Zidu. Again, here see the ya is coming back again. Zidu. Increase you all. La tazid. Don't increase. La tazidu. Do not you all increase. So zid. This is the spoken Arabic again. We are ordering somebody to increase, and the person that will answer in the first person, because we are asking the second person, ordering the second person, the answer will be in first person. So zid.
Azidu.
Right. Zidu.
Nazidu.
La tazid.
La azidu.
La azidu. La tazidu. Answer
La
is
nazidu.
La nazidu. Right. So I hope everybody is getting a feel of it. Keep practicing spoken Arabic. That will help you internalize the meanings and to listen to it properly. Now we come to the active participle, which is fa'il. Fa'il is za'id. Za'id, more, the one who increases. Badhane wala, za'id. Mazid, jo cheez badhai gayi, the thing which is increased. Za'id, mazid, and ziyadah. So the noun, verbal noun is ziyadah. This is normally used in Urdu, so not difficult to memorize that ziyadah is the verbal noun. Ziyadah. Ziyadah. Okay. Za'id, mazid, ziyadah. Za'id, mazid, ziyadah. Keep repeating it so that you memorize it. Za'id, mazid, ziyadah. Fa'il, maf'ul. But now because this maf'ul has a ya, that's why it is becoming mazid. And the za is getting a zair or a kasra. Hal antum zaidun. So zaid, plural is zaidun. Anta becomes antum because of the plural. Hal antum zaidun. We are talking to a second person. So the answer will be in first person. So what is the answer? Just put it. I've given you the clue. MashaAllah. B is what you're putting. So Naam nahnu zaiduna. So this is the full chart, and now with the feminine forms also, Zada in the feminine form becomes Zadat, and Yazidu becomes Tazidu. Right? So just to go through this, Zada Zadu, Zitta Zittum, Zittu Zidna, Zadat, Yazidu Yaziduna, Tazidu Taziduna, Azidu Nazidu, Tazidu. Zid Zidu, La Tazid, La Tazidu, Zaid, Mazid, Ziyadah. Right? So everybody try to practice it with TPI, and with TPI practice, inshallah, it will become easier for you to memorize also. In this, I think once you know the keys, it is all easy. You must just remember Mazid, which is slightly different, and order Zid. You can always remember Rabbi Zidni. That Zid is an order there. Okay. The three noun keys of Zada are. We have to talk of noun keys. So noun keys has fa'il, maf'ul, and fa'il. Fa'il, maf'ul, fa'il. So what is the fa'il, maf'ul, fa'il? Put your answers. Let the answers come. Yes. Answer is going to be only one. We are talking of noun keys, not verbal keys, noun keys. Noun keys. Yes. C is the answer. Zaid, Mazid, and Ziyada. So the same table repeated, just practice it, keep practicing it. Just remember the key things that are different. Zitta is the different thing. Rest everything is going to remain same. Yazidu, if you know, it will be okay. And here Mazid is what you have to know. So just 3 or 4 things. So if you know exactly those 4 things, what to remember, the whole chart will become easy for you to repeat it. Just to highlight those things, Zada, you have to remember Zitta. That is the difference. Like Qala, what was Qulta? Because there was a page there. Yeah, here it is Zitta. And Yazidu, then it is going to remain the same. And Zid is Zidu. Okay, this also is slightly different. That's why you have to memorize it or remember it separately. It will not form in the normal format. And then you have the noun keys, Zaid, Mazid, and Ziyada. Okay, this is your workbook homework, which inshallah you all do and send. 3 verb keys of Qadar are. Verb keys we are talking about. So verb keys are past tense, present tense, and order. Right? Past tense, present tense, order. So put your answers. Right. This Qadar, Yakidu, and Kid. Right. So we have done this. Wahaba, Wa'ada, Qala, Zada, and inshallah we'll do the others later. So Wahaba, Wa'ada, Allah has Allah gifts, that is his promise. He said that he will increase, so make dua for hada, for guidance, right? So these are the things Allah will give. It's a promise. In fact, he said he will give more. These are all the typical verbs that we are taking as a classical example. So that is why this is a shortcut for you all to remember. Right, so with this, we have technically concluded the sessions for today, and I open the thing for questions. If anybody has questions, then I could take them now for the class that we have done today, so that somebody's got confused at any point, we can take that. Jazakallah for making me host back again. And any questions? Somebody not understand anything can also ask, so that you can have a chance for revision. Of course, you would have it at the YouTube. You can always go back and watch it. Any questions? You can unmute your mics and then ask the questions.
So what is the answer for this?
Answer for what?
This write in brief the name of pointer. That is okay, no? For that is no guidance for Munafiqin. This is a name, no?
Correct, pointer. That's right.
And the associated lessons means previous.
No, which slide are you talking about? I'm not clear
First
on.
question. This is the first question in 2B.
Okay,
So,
I'll just
first
open
is the write in brief name of the pointer. That is okay. No guidance for the munafiqin. And the associated lessons. यानी आगे का क्या पीछे का?
No, associate lessons. No. Associate lessons is the points that we are getting. The heart disease.
हाँ, lessons.
Lessons. What are we getting from them? What are we? इब्रत क्या मिल रही है हमें? इब्रत क्या मिल रही है?
क्या सबक मिलता है?
सबक क्या मिल रहा है उसको? बराबर.
Why and plan. अच्छा.
Yeah.
Heart. How many types of diseases of heart? Explain it.
So I told you all that. No, the heart, the disease of hypocrisy, disease of desires, disease of hasad. All those things will come in the disease of the hearts. Iman is the plus point of it.
Heart is associated with disease, no, and the nafs is with desires.
Yeah. So desire also arise in heart only. Na dil chahta hai. It is like
heart is like organ. Means, you know,
yeah.
nafs is not organ, no.
Yeah.
It is a desire, things,
Correct.
thoughts,
correct. But
soul and mind.
Yeah. So all those desires, they come in the heart only. You know, when you think of something, when you say the heart pines, you know. So it is.
Heart is affected.
Yes. Heart is an organ, yes, but it is classically been said like that. So that's why it is. We don't question that because it is like seeing sunset, right? Does the sunset, really speaking, scientifically speaking,
at a particular point?
No. Is the sun setting? The word
setting
using
at a particular place, no? It actually
no.
goes round and round.
Yeah, that's the thing. It is actually the earth that is moving around. That makes us feel that there is sun is setting, but is the sun setting somewhere? It is just that feeling and perception. So some things are like classically spoken that way, and that's why heart comes in that sense.
So, what is the difference between mu'minin and muslimun? Muslim and mu'min.
Muslim is the one who submits, and mu'min is the one who has iman. You would have submitted, but your iman might be not so strong, and iman might be still weak. You've submitted, you have accepted the fact that Allah is there and the Prophet ﷺ is the messenger.
Is it same? Muslim and mu'min, or and there are maybe grades, no, like muttaqi.
No, there are grades in that.
Ultimate.
Yeah, there are grades in that.
Because muttaqi will be the most, which
strong ihsan is the highest level. Ihsan is the highest level.
Ihsan.
Yeah,
what is the meaning of that ihsan? And Mohsin, you mean to say?
Mohsin means in that you're doing something at the best level, you know.
That is it is more than muttaqi?
Yes. Muttaqi is just taqwa. And ihsan is Mohsin is higher than that.
What is supposed to
he's supposed to do
stronger
things,
in?
No, he'll do. See, when you do ihsan to somebody, it is like you're doing so much good that it is out of that person's expectation. If suppose you give a beggar 10 rupees, okay, you have done something. Now if you give 1,000 rupees, that's your ihsan. You are like you're overflowing with it.
Hal jaza wal ihsan illa al ihsan.
So you do good, keep doing good, and exceed in doing good. That is ihsan.
Without getting anything in return.
Yeah, so that's what मैं किसी के ऊपर एहसान करने का मतलब don't expect anything from that, and
don't expect from Allah only.
Yes.
Good.
Right. Any other questions pertaining to today's grammar or today's ayah that we took?
That Yazid bin Muawiyah, वो भी मतलब Yazid in that sense, no, he exceeded his limit in.
No, his name was that. So his name was that. We don't.
I think इसका name तो अलग था ना, Muawiyah ibn ऐसा कुछ था.
Sufyan. I'm not sure. Maybe it is with that.
Yazid is mostly discussed in that Muharram parts.
Okay. Yes.
But here we have learned Yazid is he increased.
Yes.
He's increasing.
So that's
I think he exceeded his limit in torturing or abusing.
That has a specific word, tajawuz. Matlab exceeding limits has a specific word, tajawuz.
But here that man is famous for.
Yeah, I know that. But
famous.
that name has I don't know if it is foreign because of that reason. I'm not sure on that, so I don't want to comment on that.
Man, now only I got this thing.
No, see, as we go and dissect
Thought,
each word,
thought,
then
thought
then
over
you'll
it.
start,
Yes,
then it starts, your understanding starts getting more wider and wider. Allah's knowledge is something which is so vast, so vast, so vast that we just keep on, going into it. It is still that we'll not never ever be able to completely get the knowledge. It is just something that we attempt to increase ourselves in knowledge. That's why we ask, and in fact, as we said, the Prophet ﷺ, who was the most knowledgeable of anybody, who had the most ilm ghaib as compared to anybody, was making a dua to Allah, Rabbi zidni ilma. So where are we? We are like way below. So we also need to keep asking and never think that we have reached a level of knowledge. No, we have to keep increasing in our knowledge. Allah's knowledge is infinite and our knowledge is finite.
So when will we be finishing this?
This we are just at the second
pointer.
pointer. We have
Set of
finished 4
pointers.
classes.
Before Ramzan, it will be better. No?
Today is the 6th class, so we have 20 sessions. Yeah, we have 20 sessions. As far as Ramzan is concerned, I leave it to all. Maybe I think that maybe it is everybody has his own schedule in Ramzan. So we decide if you want to continue. I'm okay with it. Otherwise, if people just want to do ibadah in Ramzan and then come back after Ramzan, that is also okay. So whatever everybody says, we had comments
Most
last
of the
week.
people have said it is to be continued because a break will be more dangerous.
No, but in Ramzan, normally I think
attention will be diverted in some other thing.
Yeah.
We have committed for this.
Correct. No, definitely we will
something
continue, but
else.
in that I think a lot of people were of the opinion that times should be different, and because the schedules might be
What
different.
we can continue, and then maybe we can repeat something. Those who have missed it, so that pakka ho jayega thoda.
Right. We can do that. Or we can have some other session just for Ramzan special kind of a thing where we don't take these sessions. We just continue something to increase our iman, some small topics or things that we can do in Ramzan to make ourselves better, so that if some people want to sort of not continue the course as such, we're still increasing in our iman and things like that. So something like that we can do. Again, last time also we got a lot of suggestions. We can sit in those suggestions, and before we finalize, we still have some time before Ramzan. We'll have sessions before that also. So decide accordingly.
What about the test? We have checked it. Some many things may be wrong.
No, actually, I do not have time. Inshallah, I'll try to do it this week and send it. The 2 things are pending. One is the exam thing also, and the last time's the class also. Workbooks, worksheets also, I have not been able to correct. I was extremely busy these 2 weeks. So, inshallah, I'll try to get it done this week, inshallah.
Sometimes the descriptive questions are more difficult.
Yeah.
And we were never expecting this to be 100 marks. We were thinking it may be 50 marks.
Correct.
It was become longer. No?
Because Dr. Abu Masin saying that no sessions in Ramzan. I think most of the madrasas also are not working in Ramzan because Ramzan is special ibadat month. So maybe I think we can think of discontinuing this.
Correct. Actually, Ramzan में इबादत मतलब ये भी आता है ना.
नहीं, this is also part of ibadah, but we will take the majority consensus and then
उनका अलग मिशन रहता है to collect zakat and all that.
Correct.
Actually, Ramzan is reserved for ibadat, including learning Quran.
Correct. Learning is an ibadat only, and learning is a better ibadah than just the ibadah that we think, because
after all, we are not completing entire Ramzan. It is only 1 hour per
1 hour,
Sunday.
1 hour.
So it's not a big thing.
4 hours of Ramzan.
To commit 4 hours only, not 24 into 360, 30 days.
No, but we will take everybody's consensus on it. Inshallah, majority ka jo hai.
Only 4 or 5 hours only.
We'll take a call. Right. Anybody else has any questions, comments? Then we can take the questions before we conclude.
Sir, yukhadi'un Allah. How they deceive Allah? How do they try to deceive Allah?
No, it's just that they try to deceive Allah. So that's why if you see that in the bracket it is written seek to. Now seek to is added because they cannot deceive Allah, and Allah Ta'ala is giving the reality to us on what is the real deception and how is deceiving. When you are deceiving, it is not that you can deceive Allah, and that is why Allah Ta'ala is making it clear here that it is actually that they are deceiving themselves, thinking that they are deceiving Allah and the believers. So in our worldly thing also, we have a lot of people deceiving, but actually in the real sense and in akhirah sense, they're actually deceiving themselves, because their deeds are so bad that they would make them worse as far as the akhirah is concerned. That's why Allah Ta'ala is putting here that they think that they are deceiving Allah, but actually they are deceiving themselves, because they are seeking to deceive Allah, and Allah is increasing them in their disease.
Because Allah is saving Muslimun by saying that actually they are trying to deceive Muslims or Iman.
So that is the reason. See,
But Allah is placing them in our place.
Yes. No. Allah Ta'ala is trying to show that Allah Ta'ala puts His name before the believers. So Allah Ta'ala says, "Yukhadi'una Allaha walladhina amanu." So Allah Ta'ala is trying to say that you are trying to deceive us and the Muslims and the mu'min that way. So nobody can deceive Allah, right? So Allah Ta'ala is trying to show. That's why in the bracket it is written, "Seek to deceive," and that's why Allah Ta'ala is putting Himself in front of the believers, because Allah Ta'ala is wanting to say, how can you deceive Allah? It is actually in that sense.
That is given in notes.
Yes. So that is the thing. The Quran, when we are trying to understand, we have to understand these aspects also, and just by word to word, we may not really get the real sense of the thing. Right. Any other questions?
Sir, course 2 की book नहीं आई है अभी तक.
Book का order हुआ है. They have not received it yet. I expect maybe inshallah this week. So in Ramzan you will at least by Ramzan you should have it. So you will be able to.
If there are no classes, at least we can go through it.
Yes, inshallah. So inshallah, I expect it this week, inshallah.
Inshallah.
Right. So inshallah, with this, then we can conclude today's session. There are no further questions. Subhanallahi wa bihamdihi, subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.